Hey, so 1 week later, we're back in the shop again. Tinker Tuesday is tomorrow, but uploaded, when you're seeing it. And the list of things that we could work on today is like, let's do this the Casey way. Ronster Cross. It needs parts, can't work on it today. 2, putting the 105 11 speed on the Poseidon X. That's a bigger project than I'm willing to take on a Monday night when I'm trying to put out a video the next day. When I give myself more time, that will be when that Tinker Tuesday comes out. This marker sucks. The budget gravel build. I don't want to do that on Tinker Tuesday whatsoever. That is more of its own thing. The cross race bike, it needs new brake hoses. More specifically, it just needs a new rear brake hose. Don't have it, and I don't have a bleed kit, so we're not doing that. Putting Microshift on the commuter. Microshift said they were going to send an Advent group set. It's not here yet, but when it gets here, we'll do that. I'd like to build the F5, my old carbon road bike. That's my old carbon road bike, to sell. I'm not going to put that back together for my own use. That is what the LA Sprint is for now. I just don't want to do that today because I know I'm going to be missing something. Redo the tubeless setup on the 9.6. As you can see, the tire's flat. I don't have tubeless tape, and I also don't have any sealant. I want to fully upgrade the Schwinn fixed gear that's in here. I want to do like a lot to it, but I can't yet. I haven't made the video that I need to make with it the way it is, so that's going to have to wait. I also need to build my track lacrosse bike, which I do have the frame set for. I just haven't shared it with you yet, but I need rims. I need 36-hole mountain bike rims and the associated spokes to get it to the point where I want it, and therefore it's also at a standstill, so we can't do that. Essentially I've got a bunch of little projects that I could start kind of like messing with, but really all it would be is just like putting things together and ultimately not getting anything done. And I've done enough of those videos for the last few uploads that today I am completely and utterly fishing for a win. And that win, one way or another, is going to come in the form of this, and very hopefully these. You can't tell what those are. These. So we're working on this. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. Now, if you followed the couple build videos of this bike, then you know that this thing has an older set of Shimano Hollowtech style Gossamers on it. Hardly the nicest crank, but they do work. They end up being a great placeholder, and I did ride this bike like a little bit, which of course is where this thing and these things come in. Why both? Mostly because I don't know that these things are actually going to work in here, and I do know this SRAM Rival BB30 specific crank will absolutely, by all accounts, unequivocally actually go in this frame and work properly. But first things first, I gotta see if these will work. It's actually almost kind of a bummer that these cranks aren't like kind of nicer, because I find these spacers that go in to convert from BB30 to like a 24 mil Shimano style spindle, they actually fill the gap a lot nicer than a lot of other cranksets actually do. As with most press fit bottom bracket projects, out comes the rubber mallet. Just take a second, see what I mean. Like, isn't that a clean look? I wish all cranks looked this way when they were finished. Wish they would come apart too. Now, without doing any like actual measuring, and just having it in my head that this inside a regular 68mm road bottom bracket shell with the rotor bottom bracket in it, it was not nearly long enough to actually fit this crank arm on because of this spacer right here. So, because we're substantially narrower here in this BB30 bottom bracket setup, I'm hoping that the difference is made up. Though there's a very real risk that this could be significantly too wide, and there's like too much play, and there's nothing you can do about it. I really won't know. I won't know until we're actually in. So I guess there's only one way to find out. Though the suspense and the anticipation is not something I'm particularly enjoying. Crank arm hits the frame, so I'm going to say that this is going to be too wide. Only by like 20 millimeters. I wish it was like that. Not like that. Okay, that's alright. There's a reason that I wanted to have the insurance policy, so let's get that going. Now, I'll be honest, this probably would have been the original choice for the crankset that I would have put on my crossbike, because the self-extraction bolt has been missing, I don't know, since forever. And I haven't pulled this crankset off yet because I didn't want to do what I'm about to do. I don't condone this behavior, but sometimes it needs to be done. First of all, you need one of these. This is a pedal strap off of a cheap test ride plastic set of pedals. Have one of these in your arsenal in one way or another. Strap your pedal around the chainstay using said pedal strap. Make sure it's tight. You don't want it going anywhere. The pedal strap will act as your second hand for keeping the cranks from moving around as you try and loosen stubborn, high torque bolts like this. But I already pre-loosened this one, so like I said, I'm fishing for a win here. Now here comes the part that I don't actually suggest anyone really do. The self-extraction bolt actually holds itself against this tapered bolt, and as this bolt loosens, it pushes against the extraction bolt and pulls the arm off of the spindle. I don't have that, so the next best thing is just to hit this with a hammer and do it manually. Again, I don't love this idea as this is all aluminum, but I have to take my chances. I've been sitting and staring at this crankset for 2 years on this bike, leaving it alone because I didn't want to do this. Now's the time. So not really the crankset that I actually want to run, but for sure it will work. But I can't help but wonder, because this 20 mil spacer is on there, what the difference between the spindle length of this and the rotor crank actually is. So like a 15 centimeter difference. That's right. It's like a really similar gap without the spacer, without this spacer for putting the SRAM cranks on, because it does need it, because it doesn't have that built-in piece. But this rotor crank, in a way, kind of does. See the difference? See how this comes? Obviously, I'm going to try this. This spacer on this side of the rotor crank should have a similar result in the amount of spindle sticking out of the drive side. Small gap there. I think we're on to something. Boom! Screw you, rotor cranks. I made it work. Now I just need to put the proper chainring on. Amazing what you can get done with like a little bit of planning. Okay. The spider and the integrated spacer on that spider, along with using the spacer on the non-drive side on this, actually doesn't look that bad. the spider really takes up a lot of the space, and it actually makes it look very clean. I don't hate the spacer on that side. I've seen worse. Easton cranks on an aluminum frame. That is probably the worst looking BB30 setup with spacers and stuff that I've ever seen. This I can get used to. This I don't hate. So that's obviously a huge plus. Not to mention I was actually able to put to use something that was sent to me as a Tinker Tuesday kind of like product to put on something. The new Crux Cross race bike is just like that much cooler. And I actually think that out of the two options that I could have had today, just the regular like Rival 22s versus the Rotor 3D30s, this was kind of the more epitome of the tinkerer's choice. Like, I think a choice like this really summarizes what it is to like mess around with bikes. It's like when you see something like this in the wild, like when I used to take the ferry every day and I would see these like old bikes or just normal bikes, kind of like the dirt cheap gravel bike, or even the Rideau or this, you know, that you maybe see online, and just be like, yeah, no, I know what that is. That's a Crux, or like it's a hybrid Norco. Everybody's got those. Nothing crazy. Like everybody has a Crux. They all come with like 105. And then you start to like look at them and you go, wait a second, that thing's got an Apex 1 rear derailleur, but Rival shifters. Okay, maybe something broke, but it's quick release, so that wasn't out at the time. And then you catch yourself going, wait a minute, that thing's got Rotor 3D30s on it. And as someone who's actually into bikes, you're just like looking for that person in public. You're like, who is this other human being that also loves bikes enough to not be satisfied with what you get stock? And then there's the others who are content with the way things are. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I'm not wired that way. I wish it wasn't winter so that we could actually go ride for once when I'm done a project. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, feel free to do so through the Patreon link below. Any purchases through the Amazon links below. Buy something through the Teespring links for a limited time only, as there is a physical order of new merch that will include the 5-panel hats. I'm not wearing a 5-panel ring. Also a run of simple Spindat script logo t-shirts. Those will be coming out. Get your hands on them when you can. Okay, I promise more content this week. I'm going a little stir crazy having not created. Bye.